CompTIA Cloud Plus Certification Exam Containers and Orchestration. Question 1. Dawn Education is designing its student admissions portal. A key requirement is to run short event-triggered code with demand-based execution. Which cloud model provides the closest fit? Option A, Infrastructure as a Service. Option B, Function as a Service. Option C, Private Cloud. Option D, Multi-Cloud. The correct answer is option B, Function as a Service. Event-driven functions allocate execution resources only when invoked and remove persistent server administration. The requirement is satisfied by matching the cloud capability to the student admissions portal's stated operating condition. The main risk of choosing a different approach is that a continuously running server would consume resources during idle periods. Question 2. The current proposal for Dawn Education's student admissions portal has a drawback: permanently over-provisioning would increase cost outside peak periods. The team still needs to expand and contract resources as demand changes. Which architecture pattern should replace the proposal? Option A, load balancing. Option B, a vertical scaling. Option C, cloud bursting. Option D, elasticity. The correct answer is option D, elasticity. Dynamic resource adjustment is a defining cloud behavior that matches consumption to current workload needs. The choice is appropriate for Dawn Education because it acts on the requirement identified in the scenario, not merely on a related concern. Other options may be useful elsewhere, yet they do not provide the capability emphasized by this scenario. Question 3. During release planning for Dawn Education's student admissions portal, engineers are instructed to package applications with dependencies while sharing the host kernel. Which compute architecture should be implemented? Option A, containers. Option B, microservices architecture. Option C, container orchestration. Option D, edge computing. The correct answer is option A, containers. Process-level isolation enables rapid startup, consistent deployment, and efficient density for compatible applications. For Dawn Education's student admissions portal, that capability maps directly to the stated technical requirement. The main risk of choosing a different approach is that full guest operating systems would add more overhead than the workload requires. Stressed about your CompTIA exam? We can take CompTIA exam for you remotely and undetected. We always guarantee a pass and payments only after results. To send us an email, scan the code or tap the link in the description and let's get it done. Question 4. For Dawn Education's student admissions portal, the team must enforce structured schemas and transactional consistency. It also wants to avoid a design where a schema-flexible store may not provide the required relational guarantees. Which data-service choice offers the most appropriate balance? Option A, content delivery network. Option B, block storage. Option C, NoSQL database. Option D, relational database. The correct answer is option D, relational database. Relational engines support defined relationships, constraints, and atomic transactions for structured records. Applied within Dawn Education's environment, the approach resolves the central constraint without expanding the solution beyond its purpose. Other options may be useful elsewhere, yet they do not provide the capability emphasized by this scenario. Question 5. The design brief for Dawn Education's student admissions portal states that the environment must translate service names into network addresses. Which network architecture best meets the brief? Option A, a virtual private network. Option B, the network peering. Option C, public subnet. Option D, domain name service. The correct answer is option D, domain name service. Name resolution decouples clients from changing addresses and supports service discovery through records. The proposed use aligns with the workload constraint and supports a defensible vendor-neutral cloud decision. The nearby alternatives are less suitable because hard-coding numerical addresses would be brittle during scaling or failover. Question 6. Engineers reviewing Dawn Education's student admissions portal describe the intended behavior as follows: partially active resources shorten recovery time compared with cold recovery while costing less than full duplication. Which recovery design does this description identify? Option A, multi-region deployment. Option B, hot standby. Option C, recovery time objective. Option D, warm standby. The correct answer is option D, warm standby. The described behavior supports the requirement to operate a reduced capacity copy that can scale after failover. Applied within Dawn Education's environment, the approach resolves the central constraint without expanding the solution beyond its purpose. Conversely, backup minus only recovery would not meet the moderate restoration target. Question 7. Prior to expanding Dawn Education's student admissions portal, administrators must establish governed accounts, networking, logging, and identity foundations. Which planning decision should they use? Option A, a compliance assessment. Option B, dependency mapping. Option C, landing zone. Option D, resource tagging strategy. The correct answer is option C, landing zone. A standardized cloud foundation creates repeatable guardrails before application teams deploy resources. This approach gives Dawn Education the required behavior while keeping the implementation aligned with the workload's actual demand. The nearby alternatives are less suitable because allowing each team to build an unrelated foundation would increase inconsistency. Question 8. Architects supporting Dawn Education's student admissions portal need the solution to describe the desired infrastructure state in version-controlled code. Which provisioning practice should they choose? Option A, modular infrastructure code. Option B, idempotent automation. Option C, declarative template. Option D, a drift detection. The correct answer is option C, declarative template. A desired minus state definition supports repeatable creation and lets tooling calculate required changes. Applied within Dawn Education's environment, the approach resolves the central constraint without expanding the solution beyond its purpose. Conversely, manual console steps are harder to reproduce and audit. Are you looking for CompTIA exam actual questions? Visit our website pokerexams.com to access CompTIA exam study guide with actual questions and answers. Scan the QR code or click the link in the description to get CompTIA exam answer key today. Question 9. The current proposal for Dawn Education's student admissions portal has a drawback. Migrating the legacy stack would preserve its maintenance burden. The team still needs to replace the existing application with a commercial cloud service. Which migration approach should replace the proposal? Option A, repurchase. Option B, retain. Option C, phased migration. Option D, rehost. The correct answer is option A, repurchase. Adopting a new product can remove custom hosting responsibilities when business processes can adapt. This approach gives Dawn Education the required behavior while keeping the implementation aligned with the workload's actual demand. A nearby concept would leave the central requirement unresolved even though it could improve another part of the environment. Question 10. Engineers reviewing Dawn Education's student admissions portal describe the intended behavior as follows. Security validation reduces the chance that a technically functional deployment introduces exploitable weaknesses. Which release practice does this description identify? Option A, a canary deployment. Option B, rollback plan. Option C, security test. Option D, feature flag. The correct answer is option C, security test. The described behavior supports the requirement to evaluate the release for vulnerabilities and insecure configuration. In this scenario, the capability addresses the immediate design objective and avoids solving a different problem. By contrast, availability testing alone would not assess confidentiality or integrity risks. Question 11. For Dawn Education's student admissions portal, the team must access a managed cloud service without traversing the public internet. It also wants to avoid a design where using a public endpoint would create unnecessary internet reachability. Which configuration choice offers the most appropriate balance? Option A, availability minus zone placement. Option B, security group. Option C, private service endpoint. Option D, managed identity. The correct answer is option C, private service endpoint. Provider minus private connectivity reduces exposure and can keep traffic on controlled network paths. The proposed use aligns with the workload constraint and supports a defensible vendor minus neutral cloud decision. A nearby concept would leave the central requirement unresolved even though it could improve another part of the environment. Question 12. For its student admissions portal, Dawn Education wants to measure code minus level latency, errors, and transaction behavior. Which observability method is most appropriate? Option A, baseline analysis. Option B, application performance monitoring. Option C, centralized logging. Option D, health check. The correct answer is option B, application performance monitoring. Application instrumentation links slow user experiences to methods, dependencies, and exceptions. In this scenario, the capability addresses the immediate design objective and avoids solving a different problem. By contrast, infrastructure utilization alone may not identify inefficient application logic. Question 13. The current proposal for Dawn Education's student admissions portal has a drawback: ignoring resources after workload deletion allows waste to accumulate. The team still needs to remove unattached or ownerless resources after verification. Which optimization action should replace the proposal? Option A, reserved capacity. Option B, budget alert. Option C, right-sizing. Option D, orphaned minus resource cleanup. The correct answer is option D, orphaned minus resource cleanup. Unused volumes, addresses, snapshots, and other objects can continue generating cost and risk. For the student admissions portal, the governing factor is the requested behavior, and this approach provides it directly. The decision depends on the stated constraint rather than on selecting the most broadly familiar cloud technology. Question 14. Before the next production change to Dawn Education's student admissions portal, the team must capture data after coordinating application and file system state. Which recovery operation should be prioritized? Option A, failback plan. Option B, application minus consistent snapshot. Option C, cross minus region replication. Option D, incremental backup. The correct answer is option B, application minus consistent snapshot. Quiescing writes and flushing buffers improves recoverability of transactional workloads. The scenario calls for this capability because the student admissions portal depends on the specified behavior rather than a general cloud feature. By contrast, a crash minus consistent image may require longer recovery or application repair. Question 15. For Dawn Education's student admissions portal, the team must remove access, data, network records, licenses, and resources when retiring a service. It also wants to avoid a design where terminating only the main instance could leave sensitive or billable artifacts. Which operational practice offers the most appropriate balance? Option A, change record. Option B, runbook. Option C, patch maintenance window. Option D, decommissioning checklist. The correct answer is option D, decommissioning checklist. A complete retirement process prevents residual cost, exposure, and orphan dependencies. The design decision fits the student admissions portal because it targets the exact availability, security, deployment, or operational need described. The decision depends on the stated constraint rather than on selecting the most broadly familiar cloud technology. Question 16. The current proposal for Dawn Education's student admissions portal has a drawback: granting broad individual permissions would be harder to review and maintain. The team still needs to assign permissions according to job responsibilities. Which identity control should replace the proposal? Option A, attribute minus based access control. Option B, or role minus based access control. Option C, separation of duties. Option D, single sign minus on. The correct answer is option B, role minus based access control. Role minus based permissions simplify administration and support least privilege by linking access to defined functions. The scenario calls for this capability because the student admissions portal depends on the specified behavior rather than a general cloud feature. The distractors are legitimate cloud techniques, but they address different requirements from the one being tested. Question 17. Engineers reviewing Dawn Education's student admissions portal describe the intended behavior as follows: dedicated hardware isolates high-value key material and can meet stringent assurance requirements. Which protection control does this description identify? Option A, encryption in transit. Option B, secrets manager. Option C, hardware security module. Option D, key rotation. The correct answer is option C, hardware security module. The described behavior supports the requirement to perform protected cryptographic operations using tamper-resistant hardware. The design decision fits the student admissions portal because it targets the exact availability, security, deployment, or operational need described. A different choice would be weaker because storing keys in ordinary application files would provide weaker protection. Question 18. During release planning for Dawn Education's student admissions portal, engineers are instructed to restrict outbound destinations and protocols from workloads. Which network security control should be implemented? Option A, egress filtering. Option B, bastion host. Option C, distributed denial of service protection. Option D is zero-trust access. The correct answer is option A, egress filtering. Outbound controls limit malware communication, data exfiltration, and unauthorized service use. The requirement is satisfied by matching the cloud capability to the student admissions portal's stated operating condition. The main risk of choosing a different approach is that focusing only on inbound traffic leaves an important path uncontrolled. Stressed about your CompTIA exam? We can take CompTIA exam for you remotely and undetected. We always guarantee a pass and payments only after results. To send us an email, scan the code or tap the link in the description and let's get it done. Question 19. A proposed design for Dawn Education's student admissions portal will be approved only if it can restrict where data may be physically stored or processed. Which governance control satisfies that condition? Option A, legal hold. Option B, a data residency policy. Option C, audit trail. Option D, a data loss prevention. The correct answer is option B, data residency policy. Location controls support legal and contractual requirements tied to jurisdiction. The design decision fits the student admissions portal because it targets the exact availability, security, deployment, or operational need described. A different choice would be weaker because choosing any available region could violate placement obligations. Question 20. The current proposal for Dawn Education's student admissions portal has a drawback: untracked transfers would weaken confidence in the material. The team still needs to document possession and handling of collected evidence. Which security response should replace the proposal? Option A, a threat intelligence integration. Option B, chain of custody. Option C, hardened image. Option D, root-cause remediation. The correct answer is option B, chain of custody. A verifiable record supports integrity and admissibility by showing who controlled evidence at each stage. The requirement is satisfied by matching the cloud capability to the student admissions portal's stated operating condition. The alternatives solve adjacent design or operational problems instead of the specific issue identified here. Question 21. Engineers reviewing Dawn Education's student admissions portal describe the intended behavior as follows: fast reversal limits user impact and supports safer frequent delivery. Which DevOps practice does this description identify? Option A, automated rollback. Option B, feature branch. Option C, continuous integration. Option D, a continuous deployment. The correct answer is option A, automated rollback. The described behavior supports the requirement to restore a known stable release when health criteria fail. The choice is appropriate for Dawn Education because it acts on the requirement identified in the scenario, not merely on a related concern. Conversely, continuing a failing deployment would extend the incident. Question 22. For Dawn Education's student admissions portal, the team must safely reach the intended state when run more than once. It also wants to avoid a design where a script that blindly appends changes could damage repeated runs. Which automation practice offers the most appropriate balance? Option A, automated configuration drift repair. Option B, secrets injection. Option C, idempotent script. Option D, API-driven automation. The correct answer is option C, idempotent script. Repeatable behavior allows retries after partial failure without duplicating resources or settings. For Dawn Education's student admissions portal, that capability maps directly to the stated technical requirement. The alternatives solve adjacent design or operational problems instead of the specific issue identified here. Question 23. An incident affecting Dawn Education's student admissions portal requires engineers to confirm encryption parameters, peer reachability, and root exchange. Which troubleshooting action provides the most relevant next evidence? Option A, test hybrid tunnel status. Option B, verify effective routes. Option C, review security-group rules. Option D, check address exhaustion. The correct answer is option A, test hybrid tunnel status. A site-to-site connection depends on both tunnel establishment and correct routing to remote prefixes. The choice is appropriate for Dawn Education because it acts on the requirement identified in the scenario, not merely on a related concern. Conversely, scaling cloud instances would not restore the private link. Question 24. The initial review of Dawn Education's student admissions portal is complete, and the next objective is to determine whether compute demand is consistently exhausting processor capacity. Which diagnostic action is most appropriate? Option A, review CPU saturation. Option B, review auto-scaling policy. Option C, check memory pressure. Option D, analyze application traces. The correct answer is option A, review CPU saturation. Sustained processor utilization with queuing can explain slow transactions and guide scaling or code analysis. For Dawn Education's student admissions portal, that capability maps directly to the stated technical requirement. The main risk of choosing a different approach is that adding storage would not resolve a compute bottleneck. Question 25. The initial review of Dawn Education's student admissions portal is complete, and the next objective is to ensure required networks, identities, or data services exist before dependent resources. Which corrective action is most appropriate? Option A, examine pipeline logs. Option B, review dependency order. Option C, inspect identity-policy evaluation. Option D, verify secrets retrieval permission. The correct answer is option B, review dependency order. Deployment graphs fail when a resource is created before its prerequisites are available. Applied within Dawn Education's environment, the approach resolves the central constraint without expanding the solution beyond its purpose. Conversely, restarting the pipeline without correcting dependencies may repeat the failure.